Hello, everybody, and welcome to iDiskiTV. My name is Nkululeko Nkewu, and I'm with Lindo Pep. In this video, we'll discuss Kaizer Chiefs and their title credentials. Out of 5 matches, they've won 4 and drawn 1. Do we realistically think that they will be in the title race? And in the second half of this video, we'll discuss why is it that Kaizer Chiefs players are not at Bafana Bafana with Hugo Broos. Do they deserve to be there or do they not deserve to be there? Please make sure you like, you comment, and importantly, you subscribe on the video. We're chasing 300,000 subscribers. We thank you very much for being here. There are over 800,000 human beings who watch our videos. They've watched it last month of August 6 million times, interestingly only on YouTube. So thank you so much for that. If we have 800,000 human beings, unique human beings watching us, it means that we could have more subscribers. So please make sure you subscribe. But we do thank you very much for giving us 6 million views on YouTube, and who knows, maybe over 20 million views on all social media platforms, given that there's a lot of other people who steal our content too. But we thank them very much. That's free advertisement if you take our content, put it up on TikTok and any other social media platform. Thank you very much. Lindo Pep, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We spoke a lot this past weekend about title contenders. We spoke even yesterday in our video about Orlando Pirates and their chances. We even spoke about Mamelodi Sundowns and their chances, given that it looks like they are. So made the analogy that they were at top of the mountain, Mamelodi Sundowns, and they now, instead of waiting for others to catch up, they are now going down to meet others halfway. However, we need to talk about Kaizer Chiefs because they've, in the first 5 matches of the league, they've won 4 and they've drawn 1. Are they realistic title contenders? They were number 9 last season, 9 the season before. They've been a mediocre number 4, 5, 6 type of team. So is it even respectable to bring them in the conversation in title?
Yeah, Mr. Nkewu, are they in the title race? Maybe let's start there. Let's not waste time. I think, in my opinion, no. Should they be considered as a title-winning team? In my opinion, no. I think we are putting too much pressure on Coach Nabi. We're putting too much pressure on the Kaizer Chiefs management. I think we need to give Kaizer Chiefs time to continue their building process. How they started, you need to give them credit because and they've beaten the teams that they needed to beat. They got an amazing draw against the Mamelodi Sundowns. I think that the previous game that they played, I think they looked a little bit better considering performance-based. It didn't look really, really convincing, maybe the last 4, but maybe the Golden Arrows performance is where you can say, okay, maybe they are becoming a team that understands what it means. One thing to consider, Mr. Nkewu, is that the second round, there's different sides. That's why this is an opinion piece. The first one is to consider the fact that they are winning the first quarter, which is the first 7 games, which is very important for confidence. Number 2 is that there's another side to say if they do get injuries. We saw with the Orlando Pirates last season when they started getting injuries.
Do you have enough depth?
Do you have enough depth to replace Abu Inacho Miguel, who've been very solid at the back? Do you have the goalkeeper? Do you have a goalkeeper? Do you have a midfield? What happens if Thabo Cele gets injured? What happens if Ulilepo gets injured? So those are questions that they need to answer. And also, it's an AFCON year.
Very good point that that's precisely what happened to Paris. They won so many matches at the beginning of last season. They were, for all intents and purposes, title contenders. In fact, that they were smelling the title until it was January, until there were injuries to Sesane, there were suspensions, and then we started speaking about the depth as well.
And our league is a very fascinating league. Our teams continuously change in duration of the season. They change coaches, they change players, they change the profile of players because we have so many free agents. I can tell you now how the league has started because of salaries. Teams audit squad. We always speak about auditing squad and building squad. Teams, and rightfully so, you build the squad and you have the confidence to say, I believe that these guys are ready to deliver for me this season. And something happens in duration of the season. We saw with Nicolas Jackson at Chelsea, Imuviake coming back from Bayern. And then now they need to start investing. But also you need to consider the fact that there's games in the second round. Every team will be playing for something in the second. Not that teams are not playing for anything, but the second round genuinely is very difficult.
And people are trying to escape relegation.
Sure.
Some of them, they want to be in the top 8, and some of them want to be in the picture of the league as well.
Yeah, and also, Mr. Nkewu, do they have the enough depth? It's an AFCON year. In December, we've got an AFCON year.
And also Confederations
Cup as well. So for me, it's very important how they audit and plan their squad from a profile perspective because the second round is very important. Fixture congestion. They're going to have to play every game after 3 days. And that was a conversation last year to say they are playing in Confederations Cup. The fixtures are going to pile up. Those players, do they have enough depth so that those players are able to play every after 3 days? Another thing is injuries. Another thing as well is the style of play, which doesn't revolve around control. And in the second round of every league, every team needs to get into a point where they've progressed. Kaizer Chiefs, defensively, they look solid. You need to give them credit. They haven't conceded a goal, and at times they took a risk. And I like the risk that they've took because they've said to their defenders, hey, Ngwenya, defender 1v1. But now what is the progression from that? The progression from that is the midfield press and the high press that they implemented against the Mamelodi Sundowns. Can we see continuity from that? Can we see continuity in them trusting and believing that that might work, not just only in big games, but also when they play against teams that they need to beat? What makes against this conversation interesting is the fact that, Mr. Nkewu, Kaizer Chiefs has better players than some of the teams in the Betway Premiership. We have to be honest. The squad that they have, the players earn a lot of money.
I think it's. I was thinking about it. Sorry to cut you. I was thinking about it that it's the coincidence of very good free agent players signing for Chiefs. Like if you look at Munyane, if you look at Marco, if you look at Mabue, you look at how they were able to get some of these free agent players. It's like, oh, coincidentally, you've landed upon some of very good players. And the other thing that's very important, we're talking about Chiefs and whether or not realistically they have title credentials. I was looking at their next 10 matches. If you exclude the CAF Confederations Cup, somewhere on the horizon, there's Kukune, there's Amazulu, there's Orbit College, there's Magesi. I looked at them, I was like, you should think that out of 7 of those, you should beat them. Like 3 points, not just draws. Because Chiefs, even when they were number 9, the prestige that they have in this country is that they were not supposed to be number 9.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't even believe that when I was speaking to Junior, for example, last season, and he would say they will finish outside the top 8. It boggled my mind because he was right, but I was like, why is it that when Chiefs are playing Baroka, they can't get that result? Even in
It's who they are, Mr. Nkewu. And
I couldn't understand that.
We need to come to a realization. And
but you should always assume that top 2 teams, Sundowns and Pirates. What's stopping Chiefs then from being the 3rd best team? So that if they're playing against a number 10, a cheaper, or a number 12, they should beat those teams, which they have done somehow this time around. They've done with the match because the fixture was nice for them. It was Polokwane City in the first 5 matches. It was Richards Bay in the first 5 matches. It was Golden Arrows. Maybe they would have struggled against Stellenbosch. Maybe they would have struggled against Sundowns as well. But they should have beaten 3 of them. And fortunately, they beat 4 of them. And in my mind, I'm thinking going forward in the next 10 matches, they should be able to beat those 7 teams out of 10. But we're still stuck in this not knowing because of the style of play as well. But there was some positives with the Golden Arrows game in that they did try. They created more opportunities vis-a-vis the previous matches.
You know what I think, Mr. Nkewu? There's 2 sides, and I hope I can land my point properly here so that I don't lose my trail of thought, because these are very important. I think maybe let me start with the crucial one. One of the reasons why it makes, for me, I think that it's difficult for both Soweto teams to win the league is the standard. And that's why you need to give credit to the team from Pitori. The standard that they've raised in our league is incredible. To reach 75 points to win the league is actually insane when you think about it, Mr. Nkewu.
But Chiefs confronting Richards Bay has nothing to do with the Sundowns. All I'm saying, sorry to cut your point, I know you want to learn. But all I'm saying is, even that they're not finishing in the top 8 is so unfathomable. What I'm saying is, because if you think about it, Richards Bay were number 8 last season, which doesn't even make sense. You are confronting Richards Bay. You're supposed to beat them.
For sure.
And that has nothing to do with Pirates and Sundowns. You are confronting Baroka to win the league under Middleton. You're supposed to beat Baroka. And that's not criticism. It's nothing negative for Chiefs. You're supposed to beat Baroka. You're confronting, just like they did now. You're confronting Golden Arrows. You're supposed to beat them, and they beat them.
For sure.
You're confronting Polokwane City. You're supposed to beat Polokwane City. They're not supposed to be number 7.
And I think that's the criticism.
The whole point. And that has nothing to do with the Sundowns. Like, it's like, you're a big team. You're supposed to beat. If you're Man United, as bad as they are doing, every time they play Aston Villa or whoever, or Leeds United, their expectation, even with the Burnley, they struggled against the Burnley.
You need to beat them.
You're supposed to beat Burnley. You know what I'm saying? Because you're Man United. Chiefs is the biggest team in the country. This is not a criticism. They're supposed to beat them. It's unfathomable that they were number 9. Now, though, we have to go back to this moment that's positive in that they've done well in the first 5 matches. And that's why it begs the question of, can they do well in the league? But I bring up past results to then conscientize the people who are watching that, well, this is the same team that Polokwane City and Richards Bay finish ahead of them. So hopefully they don't get back to that level.
But they're who they are. And to be honest with you, you look at also the profile of players that they are bringing in, Mr. Nkewu. It tells you what kind of a team they are. And when you look at the Kaizer Chiefs, that's why I always give context. We need to judge them as a top 8 team first. Because for me, the biggest frustration is that we all know And the criticism comes exactly from that. That's why what you just said now is very profound, because Kaizer Chiefs is the biggest football club in the country.
For sure.
And the biggest football club needs to control football games. They need to be dominant. They need to win consistently. And that hasn't been happening for so many years. And for me, that's what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to be a dominant team, which I believe it's a wrong approach, because for you to be a dominant team, sometimes you need a philosophy, you need a systematic approach to things. But what they are doing is what Orlando Pirates is doing. Trying to scout some of the best young players, trying to get free agents there and there, even though Orlando Pirates does sign players. But what they've done as well, Abombogazi, they didn't develop these players. We know they come from School of Excellence, Abombogazi, they come from there. Yeah. But to even bring those players
maybe
to Pirates,
that's another approach.
That's another approach. And that's exactly what they are doing, in my belief. You look at the signing Yabolebu Mabue, you look at some of the signings that they've made, with Kaizer Chiefs, Abo Pasekamako, Abo Qele, Abo Lilepo. In my opinion, they do have a good team. And this is the challenge for Coach Nabi this season. Can you beat a Golden Arrows? Can you get a 6 points in Polokwane? Can you get a 6 points at Chipa? Can you get maybe a point away at Mamelodi Sundowns? Can you beat Orlando Pirates, get a draw? And that is the challenge now to say.
And that's how you get yourself to top 3.
Top 3, top 4. But also, Mr. Nkewu, we have to speak about the league. And that's where my Sundowns point was coming in, to say, what also makes it difficult for Chiefs and the Pirates to actually, for me, if Kaizer Chiefs reaches 3rd and 4th, it's a good season if they reach 50 points.
100%.
50 points, 60 points, it's a good season, because to win the league, you need 23 wins.
If you are in the picture of the CAF Champions League coming from number 9 for 2 years in a row, that's progression.
That's progression, in my opinion. And that's why I'm saying we should not actually put pressure on Kaizer Chiefs. We actually should say, yes, they're the biggest institution. We should have an expectation, but also we need to judge them up on who they are as a football club now. Yes, we said they're a transition team. They are bringing in players that they believe might help them in terms of a systematic approach. They are bringing in players that play with a lot of energy and players that suit the style of their play. And I like the arrogance to say, hey, hello, Asfuni a dynamic striker, Solando Ikakaro, Solando Silva. We are going to fetch wingers that play wide, that will want to bring in crosses. So Zolanda Abantaba Sebenzayo in midfield.
Well, there's a limitation to where that can take you. I get it that they don't want to be a dominant team, but part of the reason why they didn't win the league in 2020 was precisely that as soon as other teams figured them out, that, oh, you guys just want to go wide and then put in those crosses, as soon as they cut the supply, that was a buzzword at the time, then you start drawing matches you should be winning because you're not creative enough. And you saw over the weekend, it was Sereno and his creativity that got the win, not a cross, it was someone breaking through the middle, cutting back purposefully, not a cross from 30 yards, purposefully cutting back to Flavio Silva, who scored the goal.
I think that the biggest job for me, Nabi, I'm expecting him to win cup competitions because their team is good enough to beat anyone on any day if they were to perform. They've got the 12th man. They've got the permanent player who plays a crucial role. For me, the biggest job that Nabi needs to play in this country is what Roger Rivero played, is to bring Kaizer Chiefs back to glory days. And City glory days, we are not expecting him to win the Champions League and the league, right, Nkululeko? But I am saying, can he develop more international players? Can we have 5, 6 players, 7 players in that Kaizer Chiefs team that we can say, hey, these boys are ready for the national team? Sure. Can he bring Kaizer Chiefs back into being title challengers?
So you're not putting them in the title. We need to wrap up the point. Khaukelo is panicking a bit. You're not saying title contention, which is reasonable. Of course, they were number 9 2 years in a row. Until they prove to us that they are title contenders, we'll treat them as such. Yeah. Where else can they land then? Top 3, top 5, top 8?
Be a threat. Be a threat this season. Win the football games that you have to make. Get consistency. Players need to improve, which is very crucial. For me, top 3, top 4, top 5 is a very good season for Coach Nabi. And then the third season, they can build to 3rd, 2nd, fighting for the competition. But this season is crucial for them to be a solid team. Be difficult to beat.
Sure. All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Lindo Pep. Please make sure you subscribe to iDiskiTV. You agree with the points that we're making or you disagree. It's all up to you. Now, let's segue. 5 minutes. We're not going to spend too much time on this. Precisely because Chiefs have been winning these matches, there have been calls for some of their players to play for Bafana Bafana. Mduduze Shabalala has been called to the Bafana Bafana team, although I don't think that he will be a starter there. But it's positive that one of their players is part of the Bafana Bafana fold. Did Brandon Peterson deserve a call-up given his clean sheets? Yes or no? Has he been facing teams that have been asking him questions? Yes or no? Let us know what you think. So we'll segue to that point now. Lindo Pep, I'll throw that to you then. Do Kaizer Chiefs players deserve, or does Kaizer Chiefs deserve more players playing for Bafana Bafana?
In my opinion, no. And the reason why I'm saying no is because I'm sorry to bring in Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates.
Those are our two best teams.
The difference between Pirates, Sundowns, and Kaizer Chiefs is that the Pirates boys Mbogazi, Mfukeng, Kota, when you speak about them, it's not only the Orlando Pirates fans that are hyping them, it's the whole country. The Kaizer Chiefs boys are only hyped by Kaizer Chiefs fans. That's the difference.
Also, it's about achievements as well.
Yeah, it's also about
Because
achievement.
those kids, the Pirates, they've been at the CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
Lababe Sundowns won, they've actually semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations, so it's proven track record, basically.
It's proven. And for me, I just feel like that's the difference. The Kaizer Chiefs boys need to prove themselves. And with the season that they had last season, it's also good for the country that Hugo Broos, but sometimes you teach them the hard way. I believe that this is a lesson that is good for Kaizer Chiefs as a football club. They also cannot accept mediocrity. How many players can we count from Kaizer Chiefs that deserve to be in the national team? In my opinion, they've got about...
It's very debatable.
It's very debatable.
How many? Maybe one is enough. I don't know, one or two.
The goalkeeper, Nkululeko, is not the best in the country.
Maybe it could be the third goalkeeper.
The third goalkeeper, if he had to. Shot stopping can help us in training. The third goalkeeper is important in terms of training.
The third.
For shot stopping.
Not to start.
Centre backs, they've got two left backs.
Maybe if Umako eventually becomes good, but also you think about the age profile. If Marco becomes good, or Munyana, because some of them are hyping them as well. But it's very debatable how many.
Marco has never had, I don't know if he had a junior international career, but in terms of Bafana, remember
even
also,
the Pirates, he was never a Bafana Bafana.
You know what I mean? Yes, but the only advantage for Marco is that he played the CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
The only thing is that Utabo Cele is well traveled, played overseas, is probably technical. He's a fighter.
Does he keep Mukwena out of Bafana Bafana?
No.
Even Umbata, who I'm turning towards him because he's now passing the ball forward. Does it get ahead of Umbata?
I like Utabo Cele, Mr. Nkewu. I'm going to tell you. And one of the reasons why I like him is that he's properly developed. I like his heart. Sometimes in midfield, we spoke about it. You need a fighter.
But does it take out Umbata?
No, he doesn't.
Does it take out Mukwena?
But he can compete. He can compete.
Then he becomes the fifth midfielder.
He can compete.
About Luke Leroux, they're playing for Portsmouth.
I think, you know what the difference between him and Bata is? I think he's more elegant on the ball than Umbata. I think he's better on the ball.
Are you looking for effectiveness or elegance? Is it better defensively than Umbata?
Good question, actually. That's a very good question.
Is it better defensively than Umbata?
That's
and
a really
Umbata
good question.
is adding a layer to his game.
That's a really good question. I think I am interested to see people how they answer that on the comment, because do you need an effective midfielder in the national team, or do you need elegance? Sometimes we all like that's a question of Fumaselo Allende, Mr. Nkewu, to say he keeps the ball, he keeps the shape.
There's a
Is
degree
that what
of
we want?
uselessness in what he does. There's a degree of uselessness in what he does because
sometimes
he's not helping you to score goals.
Yep.
He's helping you to keep the ball, but Umaselo Allende is not helping you to score
but to
goals.
take shots
Let's wrap
outside
up
the box.
this conversation. Is it fair or unfair that Chiefs players are not at Bafana Bafana?
I think what Tutuzi Shabalala, I think if he's chosen there, I think he deserves to be there. The boy has been doing well in the first 5 games.
He'll be a squad player.
He'll be a squad player for sure. He needs to prove, he needs consistency. Thabo Qele, I feel like he could have been there in my opinion. Brendan Peterson, Goss, in my opinion. Also, he's another goalkeeper that I know Hugo Broos relies on trust and loyalty, but I think maybe they would have given Peterson as a third choice goalkeeper just to go and do his shot stopping Lapayana. He's not going to be involved.
Yeah, if
anyway.
very more to Bafana,
come on.
Then
Peterson, I think, is better enough to go and be a third choice goalkeeper. Other than that, you look at the wingers they have. Papetabo Pule Modi, they've got Abo Lilepo, they've got Abo. I don't think Uvila is also ready. He's doing well, go under 20. I think he needs to stay there, develop his career.
There's a World Cup.
There's a World Cup coming. He needs to stay there, perform there. He can come back at Kaizer Chiefs and have an incredible season. But is he ready for the national team? I don't think so as yet. You're looking at Umtu, maybe yes. Who are other players? Dupreez is out of the picture. I'm speaking about South African players now.
Yeah.
With Duba, he's not even close to being in the national team.
So it is fair that many of their players are not at Bafana Bafana.
Also, Mr. Nkewu, maybe we can close the video by like this. Fans are playing their role, and understandably so. We cannot discourage or devalue the job of a football fan. The fans are allowed to say, hey, he deserves to be in the national team. It's their job to support players and to fully support their players. But there's people in the football fraternity that earn the big bucks.
Yeah.
There's football in the fraternity that we call them voices of reason. That the coaches, the players, the technical people need to say, hey, these are the people to listen to. And for me, we've only got a few in this country that have the credibility to have the voice, just like about Gary Neville, that have influence as pundits. That's why sometimes I call our job more punditry than analysis, because for us to actually analyze, we need to go deeper into breaking down the game.
Sure.
But most of our jobs is to punditry. We've got a bigger role to play in our football. And firstly, it's improving, it's progression and growth. That's what we do. That's our contribution to the game. And that's why Hugo Broos listens when we say, why is Umakhopa starting at times? Why is this guy not in the national team? Because we watch these games. We watch over 150 games. a season.
I'm tired of these matches, man.
Over 150 matches a season. So for me, I get where the fans are coming from. And they are right. We cannot devalue the importance of fans in football. But that's why Lindo Pep sits in this chair and says there's only 2 players that deserve to play for Kaizer Chiefs in the national team.
All right, there you go. Lindo Pep, thank you very much for your time, sir. Please make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, you agree or disagree. All of those are welcome. Are Kaizer Chiefs title contenders? And should all of their players or many of their players be selected for Bafana Bafana? iDiskiTV, iDiski Times, World Sports Betting.
Opa made you a bucky.
It's not a bucket. It's a Hilux.